Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, outsiders of all ages, bring your beverages. It's a What Are You Drinking Thursday on the Outsiders. The Longhorns are into the semifinals, and Georgia's not. We'll talk about all of it. We'll talk about Texas and three teams with boring helmets, but not boring football teams, and what it could mean. Texas 2 wins away from another national championship. And we are the Outsiders, brought to you by the good folks at Poncho. Going to do something a little different tonight. And we're going to see if I can share a screen properly and show you guys some updates from Poncho. All right. This is information they send our man, Big Bo, to let him know what's going on. Gentlemen, can you see this clearly? Are we seeing it?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, beautiful. Here we go. Poncho, check out some of these. This is facts from the year. They released 57 new shirts this year, and I feel like I showed the people like 25 to 30 of those shirts. How about this? There's Andy Dalton, by the way. Top college colors. Oh, look what you did, Texas folk. Look at that. There's some purple. There was some red purchased. Maroon, giving it a shot. I'm part of that. Doc Hastings is part of that, but this is the winner. Bo, Jason, Chance, and all of you, and this guy, and this handsome man, all buying those burnt orange shirts and wearing them. Look at this. Longest delivery went to Alaska, over 3,200 miles. Most shirts ordered by one Poncho fan, 79. And it's not Bo Edge. It's somebody else.
It's probably Big Cheddar.
Big Cheddar. Big Cheddar, was that you? 79 shirts. They also finished second in the Palomita Club tournament. How about this? Look at that. They can fish.
Hold on, I'm doing my math.
Yeah.
He spent almost $6,500 on poncho shirts?
Hey, you know what?
That is impressive.
They're comfy. Yes, they are impressive.
On, man.
Sir or madam, we want to definitely, look at that. They'd like to thank the customer, right? Oh, his support. All right, thank you, sir. We thank you. And finally, welcome Dewey to the Poncho family. Look at the little face.
What's up, Dewey?
Look at Dewey. There you go. Thank you to Poncho for being a great sponsor of the Outsiders. PonchoOutdoors.com. You see Bo with the hat. I got the Siesta key on tonight, the one with the seagulls on it. Bo, I think, is going 40 acre.
40 acres with the Longhorns burnt into the fabric.
I like that.
There you go. The 40 acres. If you want to see the official picture of that, it looks like that right there, with the logos on it, and you go long sleeve on that bad boy. Bo, they don't have a short sleeve version of that one yet, do they?
They do not.
That'll be a next step. That'll be when that's there. I bet there'll be even more of those rolling out.
Hey, a couple of poncho notes here. I'm glad Chance did the math on the monies, but I'm the type of guy. I don't have a fancy wife like you guys. I don't do laundry until it's absolutely necessary. Yeah. So if I was that guy, I could make it to late March. Like I wouldn't even got 79 ready to go. Like that's.
Hey, you know what that is, Jason? One less thing to worry about.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. Also,
you know what he saves on? Detergent. Saves on soap, water, electricity to run those machines. He's good.
That was a big ass maroon slice of that pie as well, Chad. And I'm gonna say there's definitely some Gamecocks in there, Mississippi State. Texas State, even if you want to play that game.
Okay. Hey, we can have a big maroon family. I'm not afraid to share. We'll share it. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. If it was our Bobcat brothers and sisters helping out, we will do that. The maroon part of the color wheel appreciates you for buying whatever reason you bought the maroon. Heck, we told the people to buy the color that might help them on the high school Friday Night Lights. That might be Austin High people too. Shout out to the Maroons. Round Rock High. That's maroon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Dragons.
Let's go.
Dragon. You don't know. All right, let's see what we got in the chat. If you want to jump in the chat, please be nicer than S-Roan. There's no reason to throw in 38-17. We're like 8 days away, S-Roan. What are you doing? Texas gets the win last night. Fellas, I know a lot of Longhorn fans needed a lot of this kind of stuff to get through last night. We'll get to the game, but it is a What Are You Drinking day. So Chance Mock, our upper left, I haven't even introduced the fellas. Mock 5, what are you drinking tonight?
We're back into the normal swing of things. So I'm just back to my normal vodka water with a splash of that delicious key lime juice. It's unbelievable.
Chance has converted from lime to key lime. Make the move. He says you will appreciate it. Fellas, I'm finishing off a bottle of pecan whiskey, and I put some banana flavored whiskey on top of it. So it's like a pecan banana infusion going on with the whiskey tonight. Jason Dick is your lower right, and it's always an adventure. Last time it was Pepto. Jason, what are you drinking?
I like to call it a "What are you thirsting for Thursday?" Chad. Does that work?
There you go.
What
Thirsty Thursday.
Yeah. Let's go. All right. I'm not sure. The writing staff has fallen down on the joke here, but Ohio State, they wear red, and so I am ready to go wild on those red boys. Okay.
Oh my God.
I've got some HEB Wild Red, 0 sugar. And for some reason, that's how Texas is going to beat Ohio State.
Please take a drink of that.
Or you just have that big a hand?
What's that?
Is that a 2-liter, or are your hands just that big?
No. This is one of those little, like, half of this is an 8-ounce, Bo. I am Shrek, okay?
Wild Red. So is that like HEB's take on Big Red?
Yes,
it tastes pretty big ready.
It's delicious. I will
Big
tell you,
Red?
my son loves the Wild Reds.
When you guys are like 10, did you kill some Big Red on a regular basis?
Oh, hell yeah.
Right. And now they have Big Blue.
Do they?
They do.
I have not tried
Really?
Big Blue.
Yeah.
I've had to stay away from the big products ever since I turned maybe about 25, because I don't want to get too big. So I'm going to try to stay away from big stuff. Because man, that's a wonderful sweet
the
beverage.
lower portion, including power bottom to my left.
Yes.
We go all big all the time.
So good. So good. All right. And finally, the lower left is Bo Edge. He is the country gorilla. It's normally brown water, but then again, there's been some like cherry limeade infusions lately. Bo, what are you drinking?
Oh, it's just brown water.
Okay. Brown water.
Brown water, Coke Zero, big glass, big win.
There you go. Big win in a Longhorn container. Bo's excited. Chance is excited. Jason's excited. Obviously, all of you are excited if you're a Texas fan. Let's throw in a couple super chats and get started. ATX Bates is excited. We saw him again at the watch party at TCH Social Austin. $9.99 Gilly's order of business. Drinking a rainbow sherbet sour with a chaser of Quinn hater tears. YouTubing field goal techniques because I still have eligibility left. What do I bet my OSU loving boss? Question mark. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. The boss.
Bet him a week off, so then when you win, you can go to the national championship game and laugh at his ass.
I like that one.
If he wins, he gets the week off so he can stay the hell out of the office. You don't have to hear the shit.
Exactly. It's a win-win.
That is true. One more here, guys, and we'll jump into the discussion. Oscar with a $4.99. It's crazy to me that if Burt Auburn would have lost us that game, so many fans would have blamed Quinn. Oscar, they might have. I don't know that would have been appropriate at that moment, but they might have done it. Gentlemen, who wants to start on the reaction to 39-31 double overtime? I see everybody's heart rate is, back to normal enough to be on the show. I'm sure all of you went through a little bit of craziness last night. Who wants to start off on how they experienced that game?
Jason.
Anyone?
It was a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah.
There was some cheering, some screaming obscenities, some moments of calm. And I'm just glad that I wasn't the one in charge of leading the team down the field to get the touchdown on 4th and 13, because I wouldn't have had the emotional capacity to stay calm and do what was needed. And I know I'm the biggest Quinn apologist in the world, according to everyone on this show. He did the damn thing. I'm sorry, but Auburn missed 2 kicks. A lot of things transpired. At the end of the day, when they needed a play, Quinn made not 1, not 2, but 3 gigantic plays in the moment to help Texas win. Kudos to Quinn Ewers, in my opinion.
I would like to say on behalf of Outsider Nation, Longhorn Nation, you know what? Just football people in general, we're all glad Bo was not quarterbacking the Longhorns at overtime, okay? Not just because of his lack of emotional fortitude, okay? Just a multitude of reasons. Did Texas overlook, take for granted, underestimate Arizona State? Bo's already shaking his head no. I don't know. Maybe. I'm going to tell you that I did for sure because as it was happening, even in overtime, I was like, oh, we're going to beat them. It's Arizona State. Whatever. You're not going to scout-a-boo me. All right. And then like later, I had to go back and rewatch it. And I was like, you know what? That was like kind of a borderline goddamn miracle that we pulled that off. And so, yeah, even as it was happening, I was like, get this. This is an annoying fly that I'm having to swat away when in fact it was so much more than that. And the 4th and 13 touchdown, look, I've offered this to a very finite amount of Longhorns, but I want Matthew Golden to know you can sleep on my couch anytime you need to, buddy. Okay? For the rest of the time. That is an open offer as long as I own a couch, which the clock could be ticking.
I'm going to assume.
How many big catches did number 2 make? My God.
Yeah. But that play, I've seen people comparing it to 4th and 5. He's going for the corner. He's got it. Vince Young scores. And I don't know if it's because it's not the Natty, if it's on that same level. But I'd love to hear from you on this, Chance, because Quinn checked into that play, right? Like he audibleized to that play. I'm not smart enough to know how that works.
He did. He saw a defense that he liked. And if you watch Golden, the route is absolutely incredible. The way that he motions in, he goes towards the post and then bends out like he's going to the corner of the end zone. And then the corner just gets completely lost. And he turns on the jets and turns up towards the post. It was absolutely gorgeous. Look, you started out with asking Jason, did they overlook this game? And I don't think they did. I think they came in on fire. They had the punt return for a touchdown. Defense did well. And then Quinn, 2 shots. You know, we come out looking like we're going to be all gas, no brakes. And I think the team went, oh, we got this in the bag. And next thing you know, you start playing sloppy. And we played very sloppy. The false starts and like we're going to get into it because I got a lot of shit to say about that targeting call because I don't understand the rule. And I've had rules people texting me and telling me the verbatim of the rule is it should have been targeting, and other officials who officiate college games saying that was not targeting. So there's no definitive. I get so tired of people that go, it's 100% targeting. Well, no, it's not, because we've got officials that literally were at the game that said it's not targeting. We've got officials that were not at the game who've watched it who said it wasn't and said it was. So it's not a consensus. That being said, Texas played a very sloppy game. Number one, I look, you guys know I love Sark. I thought he called a horrible game. I thought his game was absolutely horrendous. We played a defensive line that didn't have a guy over 300 pounds, and we did not try to run between the tackles. Like, we kept trying to stretch stuff outside with that outside zone shit that was just not working. We continually try to – Quinn has proven he is not a deep ball guy. He can throw the deep intermediate balls, but he's not a deep ball guy per se, and we continue to go to that. We're at a point where we need that clock to run, and we're throwing incomplete passes. Like, I'm going, what are we doing? That's what I came away from it with. But to Quinn's part, Quinn played terrible, and a lot of it I think had to do with the rhythm of the game early, right? Like, how many plays did they have in the fourth quarter? I mean, in the third quarter total? What, like 6 offensive plays or something like that? It's hard to get in rhythm like that. But for all the bitching and moaning about Quinn, when it came nut-cutting time, he made the plays that he had to make. And was Golden part of it? Yes. Was our offensive line able to hold up so that he can make those throws? Yes. You know, like, you look at Quinn when he tucked his head and went and dove for the end zone, like, that was a ballsy play that Quinn has not done the past couple weeks. So while there's a lot of room for improvement, and we will get to that juggernaut that is Ohio State, I was really proud of the way that Quinn regathered himself, because that was a very easy game when everything was going wrong and your kicker's missing field goals and you're getting false starts and pass interference and your wide receiver almost gets decapitated because you throw a ball late over the middle and it's a no call. Like, all this shit's going on. He could have blown up. But the maturity of Quinn Ewers and his level-headedness that we sometimes drive us nuts prevailed big time.
All right, we got real quick, Bo. We got a super chat we're going to get to from ATX Baits. Also, we got some great partners to thank tonight, and we start off with a pretty big time spot here. Now, look, we've shown you covert Ford stuff before. We've shown you trucks before. I'm not going to show you the truck tonight. This guy and his wife are going to show you the truck tonight. Sergio?
Hi, I'm Sergio Garcia, professional golfer, And I'm Angela Garcia, a 7th-generation Texan. And as a child, I grew up on a ranch in the Hill Country, and we had countless Covert Ford vehicles on that ranch. I saw firsthand just how reliable Covert is and how their customer service cannot be beat.
And just like in golf, being reliable, on point, and consistent is the most important thing. So if you want the best of the best, visit our friends at
There you go. All right. If you don't believe it now, I don't know what to tell you.
Sergio, well played on all fronts. That is.
How about that? Shout out to Covert Ford as always. ATX Bates 199 Divine Prophecy, only team with a helmet decal. That is true, ATX Bates. Let's look for an interesting helmet. Ding! There's one. There you go. Texas and the boring helmets are the 4 teams left. They're not boring when they play, though, especially that Ohio State team. We will get to them over the next 8 days. If you want to throw us a super chat, we will get right to it. Yeah, gentlemen, it was, man, the ins and outs, the ups and downs, the almosts, and the oh my gods of that game. It was one of the wildest games I know I've ever seen. The way I'm also looking at this, you talk about the 3 parts of a team. It took a full village for this one, because if I know what the special teams didn't do, but without special teams, halftime score is 10-6. Without the defense, you can't hold things together like you did for a huge hunk of the game. And clearly without the offense, namely Quinn throwing hitting big throws, you can't figure out the end of it. The fact that Texas won that game, defending 97 offensive plays and having only 1.8 yards per rush themselves, is remarkable. Jason, if you give me just those numbers, if you just say the rushing numbers in my ear at kickoff, I'm like, oh my God, I have to do a post-game show where Texas loses by 17? That's not good. It was amazing to me that they figured their way through that game when you go back and look at some of those numbers.
Yeah, somebody on this show may have said last week how they were not, maybe it was Monday, not afraid of one Cam Skattebo. Somebody may have irresponsibly blamed it on the color of his skin. I don't know which one of us would do such a thing. But yeah, if you, oh, it was me? God damn it, did it again. If you told me that this guy that Cam Skattebo was going to have, what was it, 284 total yards, that he was going to rush for 2, that he was going to throw a touchdown pass, that he's going to have a huge reception in the fourth quarter, I'd be like, yeah, that's the formula for Arizona State to beat Texas. So I guess the fact that he caught fire like that and the Texas was still able to get out of there with a win, quite a miracle. Yeah. Also, let me repeat a joke that I saw on Twitter. When I throw up all day on New Year's, okay, I'm an alcoholic. This guy's a hero, okay?
It was a bad croissant sandwich, is what he said on the Dan Patrick show.
It really was. And here's the other thing, Jason. When you've been, if you've been drinking or whatever, like you say, you've been drinking, you're trying to recover, and you're watching this game. If you're in the right mood, seeing Skattebo and then shooting up to the pictures of his dad in the stands, like, I don't think I've ever seen a father and son that look more exactly alike at any given one moment.
But was I wrong in my description?
Yeah. You were. No, and Chance, your description was perfect. But because he wore the jersey, when they would flash up there, and I'm at TCH Social Austin, I had me a jellyfish. I followed it up with a Stella. I was feeling pretty good, and I looked up on the screen, and I was like, how did he get up in the stands that fast? That's crazy. Bizarre. But yeah, Skattebo, Bo, we were talking about it before the show started. I think a lot of Texas fans that maybe hadn't had a chance to really watch him, or just watched him do that against Iowa State, thought, yeah, let's see against the Texas defense. The dude made some plays.
The dude did, and all credit to him. And you could see how the Texas players respected what he did, because they were all seeking him out. There was one clip on Twitter when Arch Manning goes to shake his hand, and then it shows you how small Skattebo actually is, because Arch Manning looked like a monster. Not that Arch Manning is a small individual, but Skattebo looked like a middle school football player standing there with Arch in the moment.
That was great, Bo, finish your point. But I'm saying, to me, that elevated what he did to me, because we knew he's like 5'8", 5'9", but I don't think you fully understand how small he is until you had that side-to-side comparison. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. He's literally a human bowling ball that has the like. I thought when he ran into guys like Bill Norton and Broughton and Alfred Collins, it would be different than some of the guys that are not going to play on Sundays from Kansas and schools like that. No, Scatterboo was the real deal, and he had incredible body control, and his ability to stay on his feet for an extra little bit was remarkable. And all credit to Arizona State. They fought their butts off. Texas got the lead, and normally a team folds in that situation, and they didn't. Now, some of it was self-inflicted wounds on Texas's part in the second, some bad play calls, look, Quinn threw a pick to Bond. But if you want to talk about the targeting on Taft, which we probably will get into that conversation again, if what they didn't call on Taft is not as bad as what they didn't call on Arizona State on the interception, because that guy went to Bond's head. And there was no intent to tackle. There was no intent whatsoever to tackle that guy or play the ball. He launched himself into Bond. Yeah. I understood the no call at the time, but then you have to understand the no call on Taft. And I not as a Texas fan, obviously as a Texas fan, it's great. I like the no call in that situation because Taft did it by the book. He ran through the guy, just like when first time you learned to tackle in Pop Warner or 7th grade football. What do coaches teach you? Put your face mask and run through somebody. Taft's head never launched. He never launched. He never left his feet. He ran right through the guy. The ball was tipped. Things changed. They collided helmet to helmet. It was face mask to helmet. It wasn't crown. He didn't lead with it. And this is the part that just boggles my mind, because I swear everybody that's 100% saying it was targeting has an agenda. Just like Texas fans that are saying there's no targeting. You could have called targeting, and by the letter of the law, it probably was. But you could have done the same thing on the Bond play. You want players to make plays like that in games. You don't want players getting ejected in games. You don't want games turned on penalties when guys are doing what they're taught to do correctly. If Taft would have launched up with the crown of his helmet, then it was a surefire targeting. But it wasn't. It was a 50-50 call that the refs made a determination. He was playing football. He wasn't, and this is the main part. Part of the rule is intent. When you're calling targeting, you have to have an intent to hurt the other player. That was the entire rule was formulated for the intent. If you don't launch and you don't lead with the crown as a weapon, it's not intent. All the other stuff, yes, you can follow the letter of the rule, but part of the rule is intent, and there was no intent from Taft. And if you watch that 100 times, you cannot convince me or anyone else that Taft was trying to forcibly hurt a defensive receiver. He was making a play.
All right, let's stay in the targeting conversation. Chance, is the first time I've ever said this sentence on The Outsiders, but say what you've been miming.
So one of the texts that I received, and I didn't even know this part of the rule, so that's on me. He actually, when he hit, the other thing he did was he wrapped up. The grabbing of the body is in the textbook as to not being targeting, because he's not launching at the player. He's wrapping. This is the exact text that he sent. This is a guy that's a college football official. Now, he's not with the Big 12 or the SEC. He does like the lower tiered stuff with, Sam Houston and stuff like that, right? But what he said was, there's no launch. His head was up. There was a body wrap. There was no indicator for any of the things that would have warranted targeting. This isn't a foul in the NCAA. So that's what so when I look at the launch, I look at the crown of the head, because as Bo was saying, the intent was to not have players get injured. But that's not just the players being hit, it's also the players doing the hitting. They don't want the head down. They're trying to deter people from putting their head down, because that's how you end up with guys not being able to feel their legs and their entire life being changed. That's the intent. This was a form tackle. Now, if you want to talk about the hit on Bond, the intent was to hurt. He launched a good 1.5 feet off the ground to make sure he hit him in the head, and his head snapped back. It was not a body blow. I saw somebody on Twitter said he hit him in the chest. I didn't know that your head snapped back when you get hit in the chest. So that being said, I also have I'm so tired of hearing people, big name people in positions that have a loud microphone and a loud megaphone, if you will, to tell all the, and they're sitting there, well, they stole that game. They stole that game. Bullshit. I'm sorry, there was 97 offensive plays run. Cam Scatterbo did a great job. Not one single holding call. You're telling me when holding can be called on every single play, that not one holding call could be called in 97 snaps? Bullshit. You're telling me Cam Scatterbo didn't push off on that pass route? That could have been offensive pass interference. I'm glad they didn't call it. I want to let the guys play. Like, let's settle it on the field. That's how it should be to me.
If you watch the Georgia Notre Dame game, it was like a flag explosion because they were like, and everybody that watches football knows that you can call a penalty on every single play. If you dissect the tape or go to the booth, you will find a holding, or when Ryan Wingo's running down the sideline and the cornerback literally has the back of his jersey pulling him by it. Well, Chance, you know as well as I do, corners are taught to try to get a little tug, and if you don't go too far with it, it's probably not going to be called. But this game was not determined by the officials. There were bad calls all directions, and even if you say that there should have been targeting, and Arizona State with their shaky kicker, they weren't kicking a 55-yarder in that moment. They would have had to get more yards, which they may have been able to, but that didn't determine the game. It went to overtime, started over. So at that point, it was fair footing for both teams, and that's how it worked out. Scatterbo's touchdown in overtime could have easily been overturned when the guard pulled him in by his jersey, and it was obvious. To me, it was obvious.
He bear hugged him.
He yanked and fell back. Now, Chad and I talked about this before the show started. Scatterbo's momentum and the way Scatterbo played, he was probably going to get in anyway. But if you don't think the guard pulling him in, this wasn't a tush push. He straight up bear hugged him and fell back with the Nestea plunge to get Scatterbo in. That's not reviewable. So, there are plenty of things that could have gone differently. It wasn't determined by the officials. Texas won the game, period. And for all the other crap, like I said, the national people that are talking about it have an angle. Whatever it is, there's an angle. There were, guys like Portnoy. You don't think he had money on it? Like when he's talking about, oh, this is BS. Yeah, this is a guy that's known for betting, hundreds of thousands of dollars on games. He probably had money on Arizona State on the money line or whatever he had to bitch about it. Like I said, by the letter of the rule, it's a 50-50 call because the rule has multiple parts to it. Some of the parts you could say hit targeting and some of the parts did not. Like I said, the intent was not there. The crown of the helmet was not there. But there is a part that says for a defenseless receiver, any contact to the head, even if you flick him with your fingernail, is a penalty. So both ways are, I'm glad, whether Texas was involved or not, that maybe this is where they're getting to targeting more and more, where they are looking at, they play in the moment. They didn't call it on the field, and they went to review. Well, you know what? If the fix was in, I don't see how. You have the officials on the field. You have an arbitrary replay booth. You really think everybody got together and said, we're going to give Texas the game? No, that's not what they were trying to do. They were trying to get it right. Whether they got it right or not is a matter of opinion and how you interpret the rule. At the end of the day, they went to the booth, and the booth said, we're not going to let this game be determined by a guy making a play that was an actual football play that we can't say he was trying to hurt him.
All right, we got a couple super chats we will get to. Also, we'll keep talking about Texas and Arizona State. A lot to unpack with that game. And Texas, of course, now knows they will play Ohio State. And now we've got Notre Dame, who takes Georgia out, and Penn State on the other side of the bracket. Before we do anything else, though, Bo, let's tell them about Gold and Griff. And you let me know when you want to see the correspondence from a fan.
Well, what I'm going to say is if your New Year's resolution is to make some improvements around your house, to make your significant other happy because that honey-do list of hanging a TV or doing something in the backyard or painting a wall or changing a cabinet, whatever it is, Golden Griff is the answer. They're professional. Billy Sargent is a 20-plus year general contractor who's worked for numerous big outfits, still does. This is his second company. This is a company he started with his family to pass something on to his sons and daughters. And he brings that professionalism to Golden Griff. He will hire outside workers, but he'll be there the whole time. No one man can do an entire large project. So, yes, he will have subcontractors, but he'll be there the whole time. He's not that guy you hire, takes his money up front. You don't see the guy for a month. No, Billy will be there the whole time when he says he's going to be, and he will get the job done. Show the email. This is one of the people that booked Billy off our show. said, first of all, I want to say, well, I'm not going to get into the ego boosting because he liked the show, but the main reason he reached out was he hired Billy. And this is what he said. Billy finished the project in a timely manner for a fair price. I was so impressed with the work that he did that I put him back on the next task. It's actually 3 tasks now. He's working on a quote. I would highly recommend Billy and his new company that he is trying to get off the ground. Thank you so much for the recommendation of Golden Griff and the great show you provide. That's the type of work where a customer, a listener to this show, took his time to email me personally to say thank you to Billy. And that's what you get with Golden Griff. Professional contracting services at a fair price. If you got those honeydew projects that you really would rather just watch football and drink beer, call Golden Griff. 733-9789 or scan the QR code to go to their website.
All right. Shout out to Golden Griff. A shout out to all of you guys. Hope you're having a good start to your new year. If you're a Longhorn fan, obviously you are because you're in the semifinals. And we're breaking it down tonight. By the way, ATX Bates wants to thank Big Cheddar for the TCH beer. Yes, I was passing out $1 bills like I was at the strip club. People were getting free draft beers left and right, thanks to Big Cheddar. So we got all that done, and ATX Bates got to take advantage. We've also got this one from Starch Manning, $5. We can run the ball against Michigan, A&M, Clemson, not at all against Georgia and Arizona State. My question is, what the hell can we run and get after Howard? And then one other one, and we'll get into the run thing because it's the same thing. Patrick, $5 super chat. Anytime Texas has not been able to run the ball this year, they've been in trouble. Fortunate last night. Guys, you know, until this game, there was you can't run on Georgia, you can run on everybody else. And now it's been 2 different teams, Chance. Again, the 1.8 yards is crazy to me. They've had 1 point something against Georgia and Arizona State. It's 4.9 against everybody else. They've really got to figure out, the run situation going up against an even better defense in Ohio State. If they run like that again, they are not beating the Buckeyes.
Well, no, but they also, and I don't want to throw anybody in the bus. I know we've had some dinged up guys. The offensive line hadn't played well in those games. Like, that's really what it comes down to. They're not opening holes. They're missing assignments. They're slipping off of blockers too early, stopping plays before they can get developed. And like I said, I felt like we needed to run into the teeth of that defense. They were smaller. We should have been able to overpower them with counters, with traps, things like that. We should have been able to annihilate them, and we didn't. We kept trying to stretch outside on that zone, and it let them run and play and just make tackles on the outside. And so, and I'll wrap up quick, Bo, but to me, that's been the issue. The physicality of the offensive line when they've wanted to has been really good. Against A&M, that's a damn good defensive front in A&M, and they mauled their ass. They did it against a Michigan team that's pretty good that just beat Alabama. I know that it's in a bowl game, whatever. It's a Michigan team that beat this Ohio State team. There's something to be said about maybe Ohio State didn't want to play in a Big Ten championship. I don't know about all that. But that being said, when they want to, they can. I just don't understand what Sark's thinking is.
Well, and what I was going to say, and I'm a Sark guy. Y'all know that. I trust in him. He's not infallible. He makes mistakes, and we've said, certain times he makes mistakes. His rhythm as a play caller was just off. Like when they did get some semblance of things going in the running game, which they did in that third quarter, Trey was running at 4 yards, 5 yards. They got it to 2nd and 4. And that's when Sark's love affair with the deep ball, they'd gotten in a rhythm running. They had actually made good blocks, 3 or 4 runs in a row. They were running the ball at a time where we needed to run the ball. And that's when that little light bulb went off in his head. Now let's take the deep shot. And it was 2nd and 4. And I get that that's a good time to take the shot. But that when you were running it that effectively, a run-first play caller would have kept running it down their throat and kept going, and we didn't. Now, the interception happened. If it was just a tip ball or whatever, something could have gone differently. Or if they call the targeting, we get 15 yards and we keep running the football. It was like he was trying to be the smartest kid in the room a little too much. Like, they know I'm going to run it here, so I'm going to pass. I hope against Ohio State that the Sark, the all-gas, no-break Sark, decides, hey, you know what? If Ohio State's going to sell out to stop our run, then screw it. We're going to beat them in the air. Like, if that's what the game plan entails, then do it. If you can run it, great. And I'm not saying abandon the run, but if it's not working and you do have the ability to throw, because there were open receivers, like Quinn had a good day, not a great day. He was great at the end, but there were points in the middle where he was missing throws and he wasn't 100% on his game, but you let him get into a rhythm by continuing to throw. And I think that the game plan would have been different. Once again, Texas got a lead, and it's like the balloon pops, and Sark doesn't do what he don't normally says, which is all gas, no brakes. It's been a telling story throughout the season. Hopefully in this Ohio State game, he leaves it all on the line, because Quinn plays better in that scenario too. Quinn plays better when he's just playing football and running plays, when he's cognizant of the check down, when he's cognizant of being the game manager that Sark wants him to be. Sometimes he doesn't throw it as well.
And Bo, to your point, I felt like in that game, Greg Davis, and I know people in the chat line are going to – Greg was not the greatest play caller in the world, but he was a genius offensive mind. He would have done really well to have a co-offensive coordinator, because his ability to design and game plan was really great, his in-game – but leave that aside. He used to have a great saying, you can't be half pregnant. You either are or you aren't. And that's where I felt with Sark's play calling. I felt like he was half pregnant. Like, he wasn't committed to either A, we're going to stick to the run and we're going to do what we do, or we're going to open it up and throw it. And he couldn't get into a rhythm of which one he wanted to do. It was just clunky the whole day. There was no, this is what we are today.
By the way,
and I think part of that may have been when we got up 24-8. I really don't think he thought Arizona State was in the game anymore. I really don't think he thought that Scatterboo could go Scatterboo on us and that those plays could happen. I mean, the fourth down pass by Scatterboo, where y'all know I've had a problem with number 5 for a little while, though he did make some really big plays later in the game, kind of like Quinn. He came to play when it mattered. But what the hell was 5 doing on that? Like, he was so out of position. And even out of position, how do you not tackle the guy how do you not get him on the ground and give the defense a chance to hold them in that situation? It's like
he was so blown away. He was like, what? Play. He threw it? What? How did it? And then he was like, I guess you just go score.
Yeah. Or, and like Chance said, on the other pass to Scatterboo, that could have easily been pass interference. Now, it would have been offsetting, because there's no doubt that Taff ripped his damn helmet off.
Yeah.
Good lesson, that penalty was
good lesson, kids, from Uncle Taff. Don't commit a face mask, but if you're going to, get your money's worth. Just
he got all of it.
Obvious as you can. And then
it adds to the legend.
And then
of
hand
Scatterboo.
The helmet to the nearest person you see. Just do that nicely.
I swear Taff threw it in the air like a party.
Did you notice it ended up in the hands of like the Longhorn guy on their sideline? Like, the guy that's in burnt orange he's the one that kind of was holding the helmet, and Scatterboo took it away from him. That was bizarre.
Well, and we were talking about, and somebody on the chat mentioned it, and I think it was Joey, but if you're going to run that deep ball play that was intercepted, why are you throwing it to Bond, who hasn't been practicing? It's like, oh, we're going to give Bond this play on the deep ball. Why wouldn't, no offense, but why wouldn't you throw it to someone where there was timing and rhythm, not the guy that had just walked on the field on a few limited plays? It doesn't make any sense to me. That's the play you choose to throw to Bond, other than the fact that it's probably the only route Bond could have ran with his hurt ankle, because he can't cut well enough. So he's like, we're going to put Bond in and just tell him to go. I think there's more
wrong with Bond's ankle than we've been let. It feels like the Kyle Tucker deal. Remember they said Kyle Tucker had a bruised shin, but then he was out for months at a time. We're like, what is going on? He hurt his ankle in the Oklahoma game. Yes. He had one. Did he play against Florida? I don't think he did. He didn't play again. He might have suited up against Kentucky. I don't know. He didn't play against A&M. He hadn't played. It makes me think there's something more wrong.
The big retweak was against Georgia the second time, wasn't it? Wasn't it in the SEC?
Yeah,
when he spiked the helmet because he was so pissed off when he got to the sideline. I think that was
me. There was something more to it than what we've been led to believe. Is all I'm saying. I think.
Well, and I think Sark, like we said, we know he has an affection for deep passing. That's what makes him truly happy, is hitting those big plays. And I think he wanted to get Bond the play. And I think we had the game in his mind. They weren't getting to 24, so we were clean. Let's try to give Bond a highlight reel play. And it didn't work. And it didn't work on a massive scale. Luckily, we got out of it. But like I said, Jason, you mentioned, and I've said it before on the Quinn demeanor. The fact that we won this game, I think, is in large part is due to Quinn's demeanor. Because in that moment, there's a lot of quarterbacks where the moment would have overtaken them. And Dan Orlovsky did it on First Take today or yesterday. I don't remember. Yeah, this morning. And he laid it out perfect. The calmness that he walked to the line in that moment, that your whole career is basically on the line on a 4th and 13, which is not an easy play to get. 25 seconds on the play clock in overtime. He gets the play in his headset. He walks up to the line. He calls the motion. When the motion shows him the front that he's about to see, he checks to the right play. He checks to the right protection. He brings Golden to where he needs to be, and they knew exactly what they were doing. Him and Golden were in lockstep where that was going, and you're right, Chance. That was an exceptionally well-run route. That corner was on skates because it's 4th and 13, and Golden cuts to that corner like he's going to run either the corner or the out right there at the 13 to where he can get the first down and then breaks it back, and that corner had no chance. That being said, the line for once did exactly what they were asked to do, and they held up against that blitz. But for Quinn, who'd been under pressure a lot, to stand in that pocket and believe in his offensive line in that moment and not get happy feet, his footwork is bad sometimes. That was perfect footwork. He knew where he was going. He waited. He didn't rush the throw. He gave Golden the chance to make that cut, spin the corner, and then he threw a perfect ball in that spot. That's why Quinn gets the ratings that he gets, because there's not many guys that can do that in that situation. And it's because he stayed calm. That's when you want calm Quinn and not excitable Quinn. And I commend him.
The other weird part of that play, guys, I keep thinking that his left tackle gave him a strange gift with that penalty. Because if it was 4th and 8, he gave a gift to Sark and Quinn in a weird way. 4th and 8, there's a lot of things you could do on 4th and 8. It might get too cute. It might get not cute enough. Something about 4th and 13, I think, just made them all realize, so we've just really got, I don't know, maybe. And it gave Quinn 5 more yards to back up and lay that one out there.
That is Aggie strategy, ladies and gentlemen. All right, when it's nut cutting time, get a 5-yard penalty.
And by the way,
TV did it in justice.
Go ahead, Paul.
And this is the part that nobody talked about, because TV clipped right to the second overtime. And they throw the touchdown to Helm before, literally the announcers hadn't even brought it back in. And it's like, whoa, touchdown Helm.
And that play design too. It was like the 4th and 13 unlocked the aggressive Sark again somehow. That play. Bo, if everybody could have seen that again, by the time it came back, Helm's in the end zone. To set him up on the right side like that and just have him drift all the way over and then cut it up. And Quinn sees it perfectly and nails that throw. And then the 2-point conversion play was aggressive. The 2-point conversion play was roll the pocket out. You needed a big aggressive throw to Golden. He nails that one too. Like those three plays in a row were impressive.
This is my point about calm Quinn. A lot of quarterbacks, if they had just made that 4th and 13 throw, are a little amped up going into that next play that came real quick. Quinn was calm, stayed in the pocket, hit Helm in stride, and then on the 2-point conversion, a lot of times guys get so excited they threw the touchdown, they don't make the right play on the play that actually matters, which is a 2-point conversion in that situation, because teams lose games when they don't get that 2-point conversion. He was on. Was Quinn perfect? Not even close. But at the end of the day, a guy that is maligned goes 20 for 30 for 330 and 3 touchdowns and led the drive not once, but twice in overtime to get them the touchdowns. And that's in spite of goofy-ass Burt Auburn missing the 2 kicks that would have been the game-winning kicks both times he set them up. It's like the Oklahoma game where he scores the touchdown a year ago to put them in the lead with a minute left, and our defense allows Drake Stoops to go stupid on us. Well, Quinn did the job.
Yeah, and he didn't get him into the position for those 2 kicks with handoffs.
And what I'm most thankful for is that we didn't have to go into the 1-play alternate with Cam Scatterbo in the backfield. Like, that was the one thing I was like, we have got to win this thing in the first two, because if we get into that slugfest, that's one of those, all it takes is one incompletion, and Cam Scatterbo just needs to get 3 yards.
Yeah, you're right. It's a good thing that I was thinking about that too. I hate the new overtime rule, and I hate that they go to those plays. I was hoping they could figure it out in the first two as well. Chance, we got a couple super chats that we are going to hit. There are over 1,300 of you right now in the Specs chat. Let's let you hear from Lisa and Specs. You got to get restocked up because everybody's coming back over to your house for a watch party for Texas and Ohio State. Here you go.
No matter what you're needing, Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets.
All right, we got a $20 super chat from Clint. Clint, thank you. Clint wants to brag. A little gloating. Buy or sell on House Divided was every first-round home team would be in the Final Four, eliminating every first round. Bye. Love the position Texas is in. Been hearing how great they are, and now the torch is passed to Ohio State all week. Texas has no chance. Wink. That would be true, guys. For whatever this says to the committee, seeds 1, 2, 3, and 4 are out. Seeds 5, 6, 7, and 8 are in.
So can I ask, because when I was looking at it, and I felt like the 4 teams that are in the final right now, if we were to legitimately have like last year's system with a 4-team playoff and the 4 best teams, I think we ended up with the 4 best teams in football this year. I think we did.
Oregon probably, I mean, not a great performance from them yesterday, but
that was a hard one. And that's why I like the matchup against Ohio State. And I know a lot of people don't say that. They are a juggernaut. And they are, but they're also a beatable team. And we played Colin Klein, and we know what he can do. He's not the mobile quarterback that gives Texas fits. Can he move? Yeah. But I mean, it's not like, any of these super mobile quarterbacks that we've seen. Number one. Number two, Ohio State, that's the best game they played all year. And they've been waiting on that for 3 months or 2 months, however long it's been since they played last time and they got beat. And they've heard the trash talking. Like, that was Texas having to play Oklahoma in another game right before coming, and the game that Texas put out there, it's not going to show. It is going to be real hard for Ryan Day to keep his players from listening to the media about how bad they're going to dunk on Texas.
Yeah, no, it's a good setup for Texas, and I think the line's about right. It should be about 5 to a touchdown.
I think that's good.
Yeah, for Ohio State, that's probably what it should be, and Texas gets a chance to be the underdog.
The line is pretty accurate for how the games have played out in the last stretch that everybody's watching.
Yeah.
That's my problem. That's my
I thought you were speaking code when you said Colin Klein. I was trying to follow.
I was picturing Kansas State, and that's what came out.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay.
But there are 2 sides to the Will Howard coin, if you will. There's good Will Howard, which we saw yesterday. Will Howard has had some absolute stink bombs that he's thrown out there in other games, including the Michigan game. Oregon couldn't get any pressure on Will Howard, or not enough to make him feel uncomfortable in that pocket. Texas is going to have to, and I know Kwiatkowski isn't a huge blitz guy early, they're going to have to force the issue and make Will Howard beat them, because Ohio State can run the football, which is kind of something that Texas can get susceptible to. Texas is just going to have to sell out and say, if it's a shootout, it's a shootout, but we're going to come guns a-blazing. If Texas tries to sit back in soft zones, we are in trouble in that game.
By the way, we got a couple other super chats, and the second one is freaking me out. But Chance, before you talk Arch Public, let's talk Arch Manning, because Bill for $4.99 says, how much, if any, does Arch play a factor in the semifinals? I feel like he could be the difference. Oh, my God. I feel like he could be the difference. Wow. Can he tackle Travion Henderson? Can he cover Jeremiah Smith? What?
Well,
he can do it all, Chad. He can do it all.
Smith is the same size as Cam Scatterbo, then yeah, I'm pretty sure he can cover.
I'm off of the we're going to use – if we're going to use Arch at all and have an Arch package, it needs to be used in a way that there is some creativity to it, and we're running an offense, not – we're just going to run the ball with Arch. Like, that does absolutely nothing for you.
He did
Great.
not play a snap in this game, right? Versus
He did
Arizona
not.
State. Yeah,
he
I
did
think, and maybe I'm reading too much into this, that this was a very sort of generic, bland, I'm not showing anybody anything game plan from Sark, including, as just a small part of it, that Arch didn't play. I think that he will play versus Ohio State. I don't know if he's going to be the difference in the game, but I think that they will run him out there for, the things that we've seen him do in the past. And frankly, I'm surprised that they didn't break it out late in the game when they couldn't run the ball. If you're going to run on 2nd and 10 in overtime, guarantee me a play that's not going to lose 2 yards.
Hey, the Arch Manning run against Georgia got 5, Jason, to your point, right? Try it.
Yeah.
Maybe you get 5 more yards. By the way, guys, I need someone to tell me, do you agree with this comp? ATX Bates says Quinn at times is like Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man, and Sark at times is like Tom Cruise in Rain Man. Are we buying that one?
Is that what Quinn was doing at the line on 4th and 13, Bo, when he was calm and collected? He was just looking at the numbers and the things going off in his head.
All I saw was numbers. It was Zach Galifianakis.
972 toothpicks. 972.
Zone coverage. Definitely zone coverage.
It's funny because I saw this on an interview with another maligned Texas quarterback that gets too much crap in spite of how good he actually was Chris Sims. And Sims actually made the comparison. Quinn Ewers has a lot of Eli Manning in him. That Quinn's greatest attribute is that when it is the key moments of games, he doesn't get rattled. That doesn't mean he always wins the game, but he's never flustered. He always keeps the team in line, and the moments never gets too big for Quinn, much like Eli in that regard. Eli made a lot of mistakes in regular season games and in first and second quarters, and he threw some balls that everybody's like, what the hell is he doing? But when it actually mattered, there was not many guys you would rather have taken snaps than Eli, and that includes over Peyton, because Eli, for whatever reason, had that DNA that the moment didn't matter. Like, he was going to make bigger throws in bigger moments than he did in the first quarter. And I think there is some of that in Quinn. Quinn comes through when we need him to come through.
Well, it's funny you said that, because that's exactly who I thought of when he hit the 3rd and 10 down the right sideline to Golden. I thought of Eli to Mario Manningham in Super Bowl 40. That was the second one, 46, I guess. I think that's right. The second win against the Patriots
that night. That was
that was just a gorgeous throw and a great catch too.
And Chris put it, and he's like, he was talking about the 2-point conversion throw to Golden. He's like, in practice, that's a throw that gets completed almost every time. You just let it rip. You have a great receiver. The route if he wins the route and you throw the ball where he's the only guy that can catch it, a great receiver is going to make it every time. But he's in that exact moment with all the heat on that play to not undercut the throw or throw it over, to throw it in the precise location that you're going to with that amount of weight on your shoulders. Not everybody has that in their system. And that's not a knock, but there's a lot of guys in the NFL making a lot of money who would have puked like Scattaboo in that moment when they were in college. Right? That's all I'm going to say. There are a lot of guys in the NFL that are considered good quarterbacks that haven't won a damn thing, that in that moment would have been Scattaboo puking on their shoes and telling Dan Patrick he made a purpose to puke on the ground so he didn't get any on his jersey and disrespect.
Maybe that's Jason, that's a good T-shirt idea. Puke like Scattaboo and rally. Maybe that's the shirt. That's the shirt for party time. All right, it is the Outsiders, brought to you by Poncho. Jump in with a super chat if you want. It'll go right to the top of the list. All right, we talked a little Arch Manning. Chance, let's talk a little Arch Public. Tell the people what's going on.
Yeah, you guys hear me talk about it all the time, and I can't be more happy as I look at 2025. The only regret that I had in 2024 was that I didn't get involved with Arch Public earlier, because I got involved with them right around May, and it's just worked wonders for me, because what it's done is it's taken and putting the power of computers in your hand. Not only that, it's your money in your own account. You're not giving it to somebody. All Arch does is sell you the program that does the trading for you. That's all they do. It's your money. It's in your account every day. You can transfer it right back to your bank at any time. You can put more in. They've also got a new Bitcoin algorithm that's really freaking cool. If that's something you're into, if you're looking at, building your Bitcoin portfolio, they've got an algorithm that'll buy the amount of Bitcoin when it needs to be bought over a period of time that you determine. Arch Public has done a great job for me. I think they do a great job for you, but that's for you to decide. We don't tell anybody what to do with their money here, but all we can do is lead you to talk to them. Give them a call, visit with them, see if it fits what you're looking for. If it does, get involved. If it doesn't, it didn't hurt anything to give them a call. So if you have any trouble, scan the QR code right there. Get that website, set up a meeting. If you need help, just shoot me a DM on X. I'm more than happy to hook you up with Tillman and Andrew and those guys. See if it's right for you, the guys at Arch Public.
All right. It is the Outsiders, Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame, Ohio State left in the playoffs. Let's take a quick peek. If they had seeded it correctly, what would these teams have been? Texas would have been 3. Ohio State is 6. Notre Dame 5. So it would have been 5, 6. Where's Penn State? And 4. 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's not that far off. It's 5, 6, 7, and 8. So, all right. Just wanted to check. Texas and Ohio State is still, unless they switch this, it's the Friday night game, 6:30. The Notre Dame game is the Thursday night game, 6:30. Orange Bowl Thursday, Cotton Bowl on Friday. The most important Cotton Bowl that's ever been played is actually about to happen because it's in a real playoff system. Imagine that. All right, let's grab. We had one other quick super chat before we go on to something else. 199 from The Opinion Sports Show. Can Texas secondary run with the Ohio State wide receivers? There's a lot of questions in this game, fellas, but this is definitely one of them. The Ohio State receivers can get going. Mr. Smith obviously leads the way. Bo, what does your gut tell you on this? Can Texas A, can they run with the receivers? And B, is that kind of how you see that matchup, or is there another part of it that's important to you?
Can the Texas secondary run with the Ohio State wide receivers? If we make it a track meet, we lose this game, in my opinion. We should not I said I didn't want soft zones. We definitely don't want that. We're going to have to play some man, and we're going to have to double Jeremiah Smith sometimes, period. Jahdae Barron is the Thorpe Award winner, but I've never seen a quick maybe somebody tell me if I'm wrong. I've never seen a Kwiatkowski defense where he has the corner traveling sideline to sideline. He doesn't. His guys are in their positions, and they're not making matchups. So there will be times that Ohio State will have Jeremiah Smith on Gilbo or Holmes, and in that moment you're counting on Taft to put the defense in the right spot to where there is a shade cover or some kind of secondary safety help for Jeremiah Smith. The other receivers are all really good too. That's the thing. Jeremiah Smith is a freak. He is. But the other guy Emeka, I'm not even going to try to say his name. He's really damn good. Their running backs are really good. They have waves of talent. The way you beat Ohio State, the way they got beat by Michigan, and the way that Oregon was able to keep it into a game that they won when it was in Oregon, you have to get to Will Howard, and you have to try to make Will Howard try to beat you with his legs, which he wants to do anyway, and then you thump him. And then you get them off timing, off rhythm, and you get them in down and distances they're not comfortable with, and Howard will make mistakes. The same Howard that Texas has beaten, the same Howard that looked lost against Michigan. If our defensive front seven can get to Howard, then it won't matter if Gilbo and Manny Muhammad can win a track meet against Smith and we'll just say EE. For purpose of butchering it on live YouTube. But Texas can win the game by getting to Howard. They're not going to, if we just sit back and don't bring any pressure and just expect our four to get there, we're going to lose. We are going to lose, and we might lose back.
The interesting part when you go to the Arizona State game, the difference will be when I watched the pressure Texas got on Leavitt, I really looked at it all as positive. I wasn't thinking about the cardio that was involved, and I certainly didn't think they were going to have to defend 97 plays. But Will Howard chance, I know right where he's going to be. I know exactly where Will Howard is going to be. And the Longhorns, if you can find your way there, he's not going to be a guy. I'm not saying he can't move at all, but that's not his strength. That's not where he's great. Bo brings up the point. They've beaten him before. They kind of know what this guy is. That pressure to me is the key as well. That's how you take Smith out. You've got to rattle the quarterback.
Well, and I said this. I was talking to my buddy Vincent Sinisi this morning, and Vincent and I like to talk about it. And I said, Jeremiah Smith to me is one of the only college athletes that I've seen over the last 20 years. And there's a few of them, but when I say a few, there may be 2 or 3 that I feel like today could be playing on an NFL roster. I'm not saying he would be the best player on that roster. He'd be a wide receiver 1. He physically, mentally could be playing in the NFL right now. He's 6'4". He's 220 pounds. He's blazing fast. His work ethic is ridiculous. He's everything you could want. So you have to accept that, okay? So now you go with the Bill Belichick thing. We have got to stop. The number one thing they want to do is get the ball to those receivers outside. And Chad, you hit it on the head. Bo, you hit it on the head. It's going to come with the pressure. They have to dial up pressure. And if they try to make it like you hit the nail on the head, Bo, if they want to make it a track meet with Ohio State, we're in trouble. I'll just be the first one to say it.
Yeah. No doubt. Smith is unbelievable, man. I still need to go back and watch that game. I just kind of looked up and they just kept scoring and scoring. I haven't gone back to actually watch it.
I actually went and took a shower in the middle of the game because I was like, well, this is just a boat race.
They are something when they get going, man. All right. Clint wants Chance to go off on a little something here. $10. Chance, please tell me how Quinn truly keeps the media and fan noise out of his head. It's exhausting as hell, and some fans clearly don't have his back. What if social media was around for you and VY?
So we had social media, but it was different. That's when, Orange Blake. Huh?
MySpace, right? I remember the day you took Vince Young out of your top 8. He was pissed, man.
He was. And the days of having to think so hard about what your theme song was going to be when people went to your page. I mean, like that was you were saying a lot about yourself by what your song was. And so you didn't want to have I'm a Barbie girl blaring as people clicked on your page. But to answer the question, I think Quinn is a very interesting. All Quinn wants to do is drink beer and hunt and play football. I don't think Quinn really gets into the social media because I don't think he can. I think it would drive you nuts. Now there's some guys, some who are not on the team anymore, who spend entirely too much time on social media, and they have a image in their head of themselves because of social media, and it's the wildest thing ever. But no, I don't think, from everything that I've been told, people close to him, he just doesn't listen. He's comfortable with who he is. Quinn would be completely fine never doing an interview. Like, he doesn't care. He wants to go play football and just be Quinn Ewers. He's a very, very introverted individual. And so this stuff doesn't affect him as much as it would other kids. That's another part of Quinn that we don't see or hear, but it gives him a little bit of edge.
Well, and it takes all kinds, because you have Shedeur Sanders, who loves the attention, and it actually makes him play better in bigger spots because the attention fuels his fire. He listens to the noise, but he drowns out the negative, but he hears all the positive. You have different types of leadership, but to Quinn's point, that's who he is, and he hasn't deviated from that from the day he stepped on campus. Watch his TV commercials. He looks like he doesn't want to be like, yeah, he's going to get paid, but when he's doing the fours, he's doing the Dr. Pepper. Wow. Yeah, the fours, that is not who he is. Now, there are certain guys on the team, and I'm not mentioning the ones that have left the team. There are a few guys on the team, like if you saw, or that were on the team, if you saw Tavondre Sweat on Twitter today talking about, why does everybody hate Texas? And he turns it into an OU sucks rant at the end. Tavondre loves the camera. Like, Tavondre doesn't, if you want to talk bad, cool, I won't listen to that. I'm going to listen to all the good. Quinn doesn't want to hear any of it. He just wants to be with guys, and that's why it doesn't affect
Clint, thank you for that super chat. By the way, Jason, real quick answer from me about your question earlier on was Texas maybe overlooking Arizona State a little bit? I would say I think a little, because when you have a big-time defensive player put out a social media post at halftime about Scattaboo, you're not fully focused. You're just not. I'm sorry. They played at times to me like they were looking down on that team, and they didn't feel like they were a real threat. And what I love about this next matchup is they know it's a threat. They know. They absolutely know that if they sleep, Ohio State can blast them. They knew they didn't have to play perfect to beat Arizona State, and I think at times they showed that. They know it won't work against Ohio State.
I mean, not only is this not a team, Ohio State, that you can overlook, but a 6 or 6.5 point dog. Like, I don't even know when. When was the last time Texas was a touchdown dog? Was it Tom Herman?
Well, what was the line in Tuscaloosa? Were they, because Bama was
like 3.5?
I thought that was like 3.5.
It was a little, I don't remember.
Like a full touchdown. You might have to go back to Charlie Strong. I don't know.
It's a good point, Jason. And here's the other thing I like, and this is more of a third-party thing. This isn't for a Texas or an Ohio State fan, but what I would say to both sets of fans, if your team sleeps early, they could get drilled in this game. Both ways. Ohio State fans know it deep down. If the clunky version shows up that played Michigan, Nebraska, Penn State, Texas could go 21-0 like that. And if Texas shows up and starts like they have a couple times this year, they could get the Oregon thing hung on them easily. It could happen if you don't start well.
Oh, this game, any scenario you told me would be believable. I mean, if you told me Texas, and this isn't me being a Homer Texas fan. If you said Texas won by 17, it wouldn't blow my mind that could happen, because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, bad Will Howard came out. He fumbled twice. He threw a pick. Their running game was nullified because they're down, and Texas could just sag back and force errors. If you tell me Ohio State wins by 21, yep, they're a really damn good football team, and they just came out and blitzkrieged us. Any scenario is possible. I think it actually ends up
how about this, fellas, for both fan bases? What happens if your quarterback has to set your kicker up for a 45-yarder to get to the championship game? Where's your confidence level? Both sides, everybody that'll watch this game. Your quarterback has to set your kicker up. If that's the situation, both fan bases are like, you mean we can't just hand it to that guy? We can't just throw it we can't just throw it short to that guy?
I'm telling you, and Sark would probably, all the fans would blast him if this happens. But based on what's transpired the last month, if Sark just decides he's going for it on fourth down every single time he crosses the 40, I'm okay with it. I have more confidence especially after 4th and 12 or 4th and 13. I have more confidence in Texas getting a fourth down from the 40-yard line than I have of Auburn making a 35-yard kick. I have no confidence.
By the way, speaking of fourth downs, look at this, guys. Matthew 499 says this game was won by the O-line. If we rush over 100 yards, we win. By the way, did you guys know Arizona State was 13 of 30 on 3rd and 4th downs? 30 attempts. Like, what? How? That just shouldn't be. That shouldn't be possible in a football game.
Well, they went for it a lot. Yeah. They had some that hit like the Scattaboo running back pass on 4th and whatever. They also had a 4th and 10 that made no sense.
I'll never understand why they. I mean, they had some time management, clock management, play call stuff. They did not call a perfect game. They didn't call a perfect game.
Kenny Dillingham came into that game with the mindset of, I'm doing everything in my playbook. I am throwing everything I can at them. I'm not going to play scared. I'm going to fake punts. I'm going to have running back passes at times that make no sense to have the running back passing the ball, because nobody believes the reason that play worked, besides Manny Muhammad, I guess, running in molasses or whatever the hell he was doing up that sideline. Nobody would anticipate on that 4th and whatever that you're going to throw a screen to Scattaboo and just hope. So when they threw it to him, everybody's like, oh, let's just go hit him. And oh, crap, he's actually going to try to
throw a pretty good ball. I mean, and especially when, you don't cover the receiver, but threw a pretty good ball.
Can we please, I turned and looked at my mom and I said, God, that's a bad omen. When on that first roughing the kicker, I'm like, we've got to clean those things up. Those things have to be cleaned up. The fake punts, those things, you've got to clean those things up, because those things will come back to bite you.
And hey, Chance, do you see who else had one of those today and they lose the game? Georgia did.
Yeah.
Where you can't get to the.
Well, Georgia was losing that game, irrelevant of that play, but that put the.
But it makes it is so deflating. And I don't want to mention any names, but I mean, I was involved in a game of, we could have gone to a national championship if there wasn't a roughing the punter.
Philip Geiger. Oh, what? We're not saying names?
Jason.
My bad.
No, he's a good guy. We're not bringing up Philip.
But it's absolutely deflating, because your defense goes and makes a stop. And you feel like, all right.
And it was, and I'm not trying to call the guy out. He actually made some plays in the game. And Chance, you tell me if I'm missing the boat here. Because when the punt block happened, I thought Blackwell was actually he was trying to avoid the roughing the punter, because he could have just ran through him and demoralized him. but they would have got some kind of targeting or some kind of stupid penalty. He was trying to olay it. But tell me if I'm wrong. The punter did that rugby crap where he ran outside of the tackle box, where at that point he becomes a live runner, and Blackwell could have just lit his ass up. Now, I'm not saying that was going to be his mindset at that point.
He was outside the tackle box.
The 10 coaches, he was. And so
you can't do that, Bo. That's the thing. You just can't do that. Like, that's –
no, what I'm saying is that's the coaching thing. To me, that's where the flaw was. He was coached to do the right thing and hands and not body, but he also should have had the situational awareness or been coached. If he rolls, drill him, because he's a live runner.
I don't disagree, but it's the thing I think that was most concerning for me was the discipline on the false starts. And you come out of a timeout and you get a false start. And those type of things, I'm telling you right now, say what you want about Milroe and his play. DeBoer does not have a disciplined football team in Alabama. And we can all respect the hell out of what Nick Saban has done over the past 15 years being there, because just him being gone, if you watched that game against Michigan, they were just undisciplined. I mean, stupid penalties, things that just killed them. And that comes from the top. And I'd be shocked if Sark is not all over his team to clean it up. When you're in the playoffs now, you can't give teams free yardage, and you can't put yourself in a hole.
And yes, there were the two on the guard who isn't our normal. I'm not getting into the name calling. That's fine. The only one that I won't excuse, but kind of excuse, is the one on Gooseby. He's young, and he just made a young player mistake. Kelvin Banks had a false start. He's a gosh darn All-American that's going to be a first-round pick. The guard is going to be an NFL guard, and he made two on the same drive. Like, yes, Gooseby can be yelled at, but at least there's the thought that young guy really thrown into the mix. His head's in mashed potato land throughout that game. He made one error.
Right
the
now.
One on Banks.
I said Gooseby gets a little bit of a pass right now. I mean,
there is no excuse for Kelvin Banks. There is no excuse for the guard on the second one. After you made the first one, you can't make the second one in those moments as we're driving. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I know I'm the Quinn apologist, yada, yada. Quinn never got rattled. You'd see other quarterbacks yelling in the huddle, screaming at linemen on the sidelines. Did you ever see anything out? Like, maybe he was thinking it, like, stop making it harder for me, you buttheads. But stayed calm and kept making throws. That's why the team won.
I want to go to mashed potato land. That sounds great. Does Engage Vacations go there, Bo? Can they set that up? I want to go.
Engage Vacations potatoes there. Just go on DoorDash and order.
Our power bottom in the bottom right, he wants to have tubby time in a mashed potato bathtub.
Yes.
Ooh. Hey, when you get that next job that pays real money, DoorDash a couple gallons of Popeye's mashed potatoes and just go to town.
Under buttery garlic waterfalls in mashed potato land. Yes, indeed. Sounds good.
Like the Golden Corral. Just
welcome to the Outsiders for those of you that haven't been to our show before.
Yeah. What up? 1,500 of you in the Specs chat. We got a couple of super chats. We will get to those. Right now, let me hang on. Let me see if I can do this. Right now, we need to let you know a little bit about the good folks at Last Stand Hats. Yes, indeed. Last Stand Hats, the true fans brand. You got the Outsiders hats. I thought tonight we'd just show you some Last Stand hats. This is some of their brand stuff. Just Last Stand. You like the Buffalo logo? You can do this. Look at this. Scattaboo. You got different versions here. You can do this one. Scattaboo. Oh, that one didn't change. Look at the Dallas one. Just say the same. If you're a Dallas person, you can do some Dallas. Do a little Last Stand there. Look at the flower. Pretty. We've got, what is this here? Coleman, Texas. What? You can get a Coleman, Texas hat? That's crazy. For those of you hanging out at Tarleton, it's just Coleman, Texas. There you go. Some more Last Stand. Look at that. Golf. If you're like, look at that. If you're like Bo and Jason and Chance and you're playing golf out there, hit that one. Got some nice, pretty. Look at this. Cowboys fans. 1960. Little Cowboys reference for you. Here's a little, look at that. Little like an Arizona vibe right there. The Southwest Heritage is what they call it there. All right. More golf. Last Stand. Houston. Or as Bo would say, Houston. You want to get a hat? We got all that going on. Last Stand hats. proud sponsor of the Outsiders, and the reason that you have the Outsiders hat. If you don't have a legitimately worth a shit Outsiders hat, this is the white version, but there's like 11 other color designs that you can get. Go check it out. Use the code Outsiders10. Get yourself a little discount as well at Last Stand Hats. All right, our man Big Cheddar jumped in. Oh, this is just bad luck. $10. What a effing roller coaster of a game. I'm glad the good guys came out on top. I don't know if y'all will get into the results of the picks tonight, but I did go 3-0. Thanks for not picking me. Damn, so close. Bo, any idea if the picker this week went 3-0? Was I supposed to keep track of that?
The picker did not.
Okay, all right.
The picker had Texas minus 12 and a half.
The record, the power bottom picks went 1-3. So
1-3.
Yeah.
1.
Hey, Chad, you were the only one that went 3-1. So
okay, and the only one I missed was Texas, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I got the
Texas screwed me.
Laid the points with Penn State, got that, and then
you went 1-3. It wasn't
and my
because of
Blake,
Texas.
the super producer feelings. My Blake, I feel like I was channeling Blake. I had an over feeling about Ohio State and an under feeling about Georgia Notre Dame, and it worked for both of those games. Let's go back to this is Big Cheddar again. Also, when are the TV people going to quit referring to Colin Simmons as a future star? He's a star now and going to be a terror for 2 more years.
I mean, he did win the Freshman of the Year.
Yeah, he is that.
Dude.
I would say he is a star now. One of my favorite plays, guys, was when Levitt is trying to convert. I want to say it was a 4th down. Maybe it's a long 3rd down or a 4th down play. And he goes around the left side thinking he's got the corner. And Colin Simmons cut his angle off so quickly. And there was another Texas guy there, and I think it might have been Hill. But Simmons is the one that cut him off and just makes him run backwards for about 3 yards, and I think he had to throw the ball away. But, man, Simmons is an absolute beast.
It's like when they say an elite cornerback runs the route for the play and beats the receiver to the spot. Simmons ran to where he was going and beat him to the spot because he's a better athlete than Levitt. And let's give Levitt credit for a redshirt freshman in that game to get he kept making plays. He made mistakes, but he kept
Levitt, 3rd down scramble almost won the game in overtime.
For all his cockiness and everything else, Levitt played as well as you could.
Yeah,
against
Jason,
that
that's a great point, because if Texas fans aren't talking about 4th and 13 today, Arizona State fans might be talking about 3rd and 14, because at that moment that felt like the biggest play of the game by a quarterback. Yes. And then Quinn said, "Hey, dude, hold my beer. Hold my beer, freshman. Watch this."
Well, and as much as you're a Texas fan, and as I was yelling at the tackle that son of a bleep, he's making plays on a defense that doesn't get those plays made on them. It's like giving Scatterbo credit. Bill Norton hasn't ran into a guy that hard since middle school and had him not just fall down. He hit Scatterbo straight up, and Scatterbo, he took it. He didn't run through Bill Norton, but he kept his feet and he kept going. Like those things, credit to Arizona State, because I didn't think they could do that. I thought they could do it against the Kansases and Iowa States of the world, but I didn't think they were going to be able to do it to us. And Scatterbo did it, and Levitt did it. Kudos to them for that. They played hard.
There is a little debate going on in our chat right now, and I want to ask y'all if y'all were – I did have to change over to the SEC network because I got so tired of hearing Tess and Palmer talk about Scatterbo. Like, he'd make a 4-yard run. That's what we've been waiting. That's what the Scatterbo right there. You see, that's what we've talked. Scatterbo. I was like, oh my God. Like,
no chance. I couldn't do it. I had to switch early on at TCH Social because I didn't know they were going to insult Craig Way with the Sky Cam. I can't watch a whole game on the Sky Cam. I thought they were going to put the regular broadcast on SEC Network with Craig. So I didn't realize they got extra cute with that. But as soon as we saw that, I just knew. I'm like, this room's going to be pissed off if I make them watch, a full Sky Cam version where you're starting field goals with the camera like 35 yards away. I mean, I can't believe they did that. I can't believe they do that to those broadcasters, because you should want to listen to it. But I guess They're trying to work us back to test, but I had to live through it, Chance, because I couldn't watch a game with the sky camera.
The announcing was terrible.
But Chance, a lot of that happened. A lot of the Scattaboo love happened as Texas. From the outside perspective, not the Longhorn fan perspective, but from the broadcasting, when Texas started what I thought running away with it early, and then it got to 24-8, I think they were trying to find a way to keep people engaged, and they were making it about Scattaboo because it's a great story. And they got his tatted up dad in the stands looking, I was with a guy last night from Sacramento. He goes, that's what everybody from Sacramento looks like. And they're all in biker kits.
I know.
See, I had to teach y'all about the MCs, bro.
Yeah. I know
I've watched
people are upset with Tess, and he was on the call for Notre Dame when he did the Texas is back, folks thing. I don't mind Joe Tessitore. Jesse Palmer, if I never hear him again, he kept calling Bert Auburn Bert Austin. Like after he'd missed the first kick, I'm like, this is kind of an important moment to know the name. I would also like to forget all about him. Okay,
but he couldn't even call Jade Barron. Jade Barron. He called him Jade Brown at some point. He got Jade right, but then he can't get Barron.
Some people should just be on TV and smile and look at the camera. Okay, some people shouldn't talk, and I think he might be one of the smile and look at the camera people.
Jesse Palmer is one of the prettiest dudes you're ever going to see on a TV screen.
Yeah, that was rough.
Man, pretty dudes on the Outsiders. For those of you keeping score at home.
Well, Chad's our man pretty, so just let that run for the
Let that soak in. Huh? If he's right, I mean, what the hell? Right? Come on.
Pour you another peanut butter banana.
If this is the good looking, we got problems. All right. I don't see any super chats right now. So if you throw us one, we will get to it. One more of our great partners to thank before we get out of here. And it is Chance Mock telling you about a guy in a shirt. I don't think it's a poncho shirt, but it is a good looking shirt. It's our man at Prodigy Mortgage. Chance, tell the folks all about it.
Oh my God. Thad Lindsay and his crew. Hey, we just had a stressful game. It was pretty stressful for everybody, both sides of the fans. There's half of us are happy and the other half aren't. That being said, you don't want a stressful, bumpy ride when you're trying to buy a home. That should be a fun experience. But I will tell you, as somebody, my grandmother was the Texas State Realtor of the Year in 1986. My aunts, my cousins, everybody's in real estate. I even dabbled in real estate a little bit when I was in Austin. And I can tell you these things can get off the rail quick, but it's your mortgage partner that keeps it on the rails and make sure you get funded and closed, and you and your wife and your kids are happy because you know the kids have already picked out the rooms. Your wife is already planning for what color the drapes are going to be. Don't fail her and get to closing and not get closed. Get with the guys at Prodigy Mortgage, Thad Lindsay and his crew. They are phenomenal. They're the guys that you want to quarterback in the 2-minute drill when you need to get this house closed. Give them a call, Thad Lindsay. He's the managing partner over there at Prodigy Mortgage. Him and his crew will get you taken care of. Thad Lindsay's the man.
All right, guys. One other quick weird comment on a call in this game. We were talking about the targeting stuff earlier, and I agree with a lot of what you guys said about the targeting. I did find it interesting. Both of those weren't called targeting on the field. I thought that was really critical, and I wonder if the official in a booth would have felt like he needed to back up his guy if it had been called. Both of them were not on the field, and they said, we're going to look at it for targeting. So it's a different version of it. In the end, I thought the arm to the helmet, by definition, should have been. Arizona State would have still had the ball. It was after the pick, but they should have been backed up. And then I was glad, as the football fan that I am, I thought they were going to chunk Taft, but I was glad they didn't because of everything you guys laid out. The form tackle quality. I always say just because helmets make contact doesn't make it helmet to helmet, and everybody needs to freak out and get scared. But there were those two plays people talked about. There was the pulling of Scattaboo into the end zone that didn't get called, and we talked about that one. Here's the weirdest thing I heard after the game, fellas. Did you guys hear this crap about the field goal? Somebody, our guy Cody Carpentier at Orange Bloods saw a post today where someone was arguing that the rule book states that if you block a field goal and it bounces and then goes through the upright, it's still 3 points. And I've never heard that in my life. I haven't looked it up.
It skips and goes up and through the uprights?
Apparently the one that Ethan Burke blocked, it bounces once, goes up in the air, and literally went through the upright.
Yeah, nothing but net.
And somebody is throwing out the idea that there's an obscure part of the rule book that says they can still award 3 points and maybe should have there. Have y'all ever heard that?
No.
No. I thought when it hits the ground, it's not dead, but it's as a field goal attempt. Once the ball hits turf, it is no longer a field goal attempt.
That would be.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying that he's wrong.
That would be my logic. I think that's what most people think when they watch football. And and think about it, fellas, if that's the rule, why don't I have a guy back on every field goal, even if it's 40 yards? Don't I want to just for safety's sake
knock it down?
Just in case.
So, the other, and this has nothing to do with Texas, but all the online stuff in that South Carolina game when Beamer and Brett Bielema kind of got into it at the midfield, and let's be real, Shane Beamer wanted nothing to do with Brett Bielema once he
that would have been early on in the UFC when they didn't have weight classes.
Yeah. Brett Bielema is like Tank Abbott, and this was like a little Hoist Gracie fight. He wanted nothing to do with it. But Brett Bielema can be a blockhead or a lot of different things. In my opinion, Bielema was 100% right. I know what Beamer was trying to do as a trick play, but did y'all hear about that with the kickoff return
without
and the tee? Because you go like T, like in this new stupid kickoff rules, you go like T, everybody stay away from it because we're not returning it. Beamer had all his players do the T, so Bielema's guys let up because it's supposed to be for safety where you're not having these collisions. So when you're basically conceding, we're letting it be a touchback, it's basically telling everybody don't run into each other. We don't need these senseless hits. Bielema was pissed because Beamer knew that was what everybody's going to do, and he ran a trick where everybody went T, and the guy caught it and then threw it to another guy and tried to get a kick return off of it when everybody was standing still. He took advantage of the rule, yes, but then they get in a fight, and everybody's like, what? Beamer has all the right in the world. Well, yeah, but that's like those if you're going to have a rule for safety and everybody's trying to do it for safety in an exhibition game that is not a playoff game, why the hell are you rolling out that everybody goes like this and then you run a trick playoff and then you get mad that they got pissed about it?
Oscar, don't you ever stay away from those, sir. Don't you ever.
That was confusing.
Jack and Diet. Well, first off, Oscar, go to Coke Zero. Less sugar.
Dad, to your question, I say if I was in charge of the rule book, if you bounce a field goal in, 13 points. All right. No, fucking hard that is. The dude, guys would work on that for a whole day.
It's difficult to do, but I've never heard that. I have never heard it. I got to double check that rule at some point because
I've never heard until 2 weeks ago. I had never heard the obscure rule about the fair catch, free kick.
Oh, you didn't know that one? That one I knew. I knew that rule.
Yeah. I didn't know that one. And then from apparently the stories going around is Harbaugh had found this and wanted to use it forever. He was waiting on that one opportunity.
I told you about that there was an article where basically all his former coaches and players were like, Harbaugh's had a hard-on for this for 15 years. He just hadn't had the opportunity. He's always.
Did you guys hear the story where he tried it in college? Where it was when he was at San Diego. Remember when he was at the Toreros, USD? He was about to try it, and an official stopped him. And he leans over and he says, Coach, I'm going to save you some embarrassment. That's a high school and an NFL rule. It's not a college rule. Don't do it. And Harbaugh had to back off the idea. He was going to do it in college, and it wasn't even a rule. It doesn't exist in college. Jim Harbaugh. Oh, my God. All right. Let's see. A couple of the super chats came in. Our guy Barbs10 threw $20 at us. Thank you, Barbs10, for $19.99. When Texas beats OSU, there's your confidence. Will all the talk be about how OSU played? You would have thought Arizona State won by all the boo licking in the media. Can Quinn and Golden get some damn respect? Great TCH watch. ATX Bates, Chad, Sukamel. It was good to see you, Barbs10. The boo licking. That's interesting. Texas fans may be frustrated that Scattaboo's getting discussion even in a loss. I would hope Quinn and Golden are getting their love, boys, because, they're the reason Texas won the game.
Well, I think Golden will get his love in April at the NFL draft. I think Golden Well, when pro scouts watch his tape, he's not the biggest or the fastest. He will end up being a day 2 pick because of what people have seen from his blocking, from his hands to his route running. There is a place for Matthew Golden starting in the NFL. That's when he'll get his due. Until Quinn goes to the NFL and actually has success, it doesn't matter what he does. If he wins a national title this year at Texas, the narrative from a lot of people will be he did it with his defense, or the Texas won in spite of Quinn Ewers, or any number of scenarios that will be thrown out there. That's just the nature of how this story has played out. But Quinn, his only chance to change that narrative is to get drafted and go do something in the league. Whether that happens or not, time will tell. But there is nothing he could do short of throwing for 500 yards in a national championship game for at least 25 to 30% of the Texas Longhorn fan base to ever give him credit for anything.
Hey, as a known arch guy, I just want to point out Quinn Ewers, 2 for 2 on coin tosses this week. Good job, buddy.
It's true.
Good job.
It's true.
Fails never
And
fails,
Barbs,
baby.
I would tell you, enjoy the 8 days of ducking under the radar just as much as you can.
it's so great.
Try to spend 8 days letting it all be about Ohio State. Let it all be about Scatterboot. Let it all be about what it was. Let it all be about play calls. Let it be all of that. Because if Texas beats Ohio State, will all the talk be about how Ohio State play? Nope, it won't. Texas will get all the credit for beating Ohio State. But in the lead up, let it all be about Ohio State. It's a rarity for Texas.
I love it.
Rare position. Take advantage of it.
If you're gonna wear shirts and have the mantra and that embrace the hate, which you have to. If you're gonna play at a school like Texas, you have to be okay with everybody hating you. Like it's an accepted thing, and that's fine. It is what it is. But you have to love this. Like if I'm Sark, if I'm that strength conditioning team, the whole team of strength coaches, I am loving it. I'm spending all week telling these guys how they're going to get their ass kicked. You're not big enough. You're not fast enough. You can't play physical with them. They're going to out-physical you. I'd be just not the coaches, because, the coaches, we're putting a game plan to go win. But those strength coaches, those are the ones that can get in your ear and make sure you remember how everybody thinks you can't do it. You're not good enough, bro. You're not good enough. That's the energy that Arizona State brought in.
Yep.
And that's the energy. I think Texas, it's a different one. Arizona State can look at it and go, they didn't recruit me, or, maybe not Arizona State. I don't, but other teams come to Texas and they want to prove y'all should have recruited me. This is a different monster. This is Texas gets to go in when everybody's saying, oh, y'all are going to get your ass kicked. It's going to be 38-17. Like, y'all are going to run out of – great. Let's do it. Let's dance. We got a date.
Well, one of our chatters put it up earlier from a schematic standpoint that if Belichick was our coach, he'd have Jade locked up on EE the entire game, and he'd have Manny Muhammad with a shade safety over the top on Jeremiah Smith, which at first glance sounds like there's no way you're putting Manny Muhammad straight up on Jeremiah Smith. But if he has help, yes. But if that is the type of game plan, the motivational factor is you go to Muhammad and be like, you think you're a $3 million NIL guy? You think you're an NFL corner? Here's your game to prove it. You have help over the top. You play your 15 yards in press and show the world you can cover Jeremiah Smith in a 15-yard phone booth. Get into him that way and see what you can motivate him. And if, it might work, but that's the type of coaching that Sark's going to have to do. He's going to have to make them feel like the underdog, which is very rare for Texas to be the one whose back's against the wall. But Texas has to behave like they're a caged animal with their back against the wall, and they got to come out firing everything they got. Because this Ohio State team, like Georgia, is the only team Texas is playing all year where their athletes may actually be better than Texas athletes. Mm-hmm. And Texas has great athletes. But
Ohio State has the best roster in college football.
They do.
Anybody that
have one position.
I'm sorry, Texas fans, and I'm going to be blunt here. Any Texas fan that wants to argue with me that Texas can go man for man with Ohio State, they can't. Yeah. Ohio State, they have built a fantastic roster. I mean, up and down. They don't have weaknesses on the defensive side of the ball. They don't.
No, they have one weakness on the offensive side of the ball, in my opinion, and that's Will Howard. Like, at the end of the day, they have 21-21, they're winning. I'm sorry. But I guarantee you Ohio State wishes Quinn Ewers had never left Ohio State and he was the quarterback right now and not Will Howard. Or at least Ryan Day thinks like that. That'd be my
Chad,
opinion.
will you throw Joey's put this, it's not a super chat, but I
Right
think
here.
when you put the same chat in there 6 times, we've got
This
to
one?
Yeah.
Oh, has this been 6 times? I saw it earlier.
I don't know.
Joey says Ohio State's going to play Texas like they played Michigan. You better hope so. Texas is going to play Ohio State like they played Michigan. Texas better than Michigan, better than Ohio State. All right. Joey's going football math. If you could guarantee that, Joey, that each team will bring the Michigan version, then Texas, I think, will do very well.
I don't think the Texas game plan against Michigan would work against Ohio State because you can't run side to side against Ohio State. If you're going to beat Ohio State, you're going to have to do a lot more than wide receiver screens and dump off to Jadon Blue. Sorry. They're too good. Much like the Texas defense against most teams, you can't try to make Texas go horizontal. You've got to attack them over the top. Like if you're going to beat the Texas defense, you sure as hell ain't going to do it with sweeps and zone runs on the outside and short passes.
Well,
that Texas will light that up. Texas tackles too
Isn't
well
that
in the
both
secondary.
defenses, Bo? Can you beat either one of these defenses by being cute on the outside? You got to punch them
But
both,
Texas-
don't you?
Sark likes to do that sometimes, and it can work against certain teams. It ain't going to work against Ohio State. I hope he's smart enough to realize he can't.
Here's a
do
weird
that
thing to
crap.
say after a game, guys. But if I could go back in time and hit the DeLorean, I would change one play for Texas, and then I want to see how the rest of the game might play out. It was 14-3, 1st and 10. If Quinn Ewers realizes that the defensive lineman is coming right at him to crush him and hands the ball to Wisner, did y'all see how much space he had? Wisner made one cut, and he had about, 45 yards in front of him with one guy at about 12 that would have been trying to keep him from going all the way. I just wonder what it would have looked like if a straight ahead run had started that drive and then the momentum could have built off of that. I never thought there was a full plan with the run game, but that's the kind of run they're going to need to beat Ohio State. You got to go right at them. Bo, I completely agree with you. You got to get physical and nasty and go at them, not long, drawn out. It's going to take a while to develop kind of run plays.
You can't run those tricks and gimmicks against Ohio State. They have too much speed to make it up. They have the makeup speed. And using your scenario, Chad, I'd like to use a DeLorean to go back to 2nd and 4 after we had just ran the ball successfully for 3 first downs. And after we decided to throw the deep ball to Bond, I would have much rather seen that's when you bring Arch Manning in and run a couple plays of zone read with like anything other than throwing it. Like, yes, if he hits it, it's a highlight reel. You're up 2 scores and moving the ball and stopping the clock. Why the hell do you get cute at that moment?
Good point.
I would DeLorean the 4th and 10 halfback pass from Scattaboo just because that was really annoying, or the moment that we offered Bert Auburn a scholarship.
That is just rude. There's no need. There's no need. By the way, I need your help.
Man has a family, Jason.
Jason, I need your help on something.
He's got a family
quick.
who won't tell him about his hair. Okay, cut your hair.
Chris Bennett for $2 in a super chat says,
no.
Dr. Lou in a power bottom voice. Jason Dick, you need to help me out. What is Uncle Bottom? What's he talking about? Power bottom voice. What the hell does that mean?
I just thought it was a fun way to describe my picks because I was at the bottom of the standings, Chad. Lou.
What?
I don't.
He wants an extra lisp or something?
I don't know what I don't know what he's referring to.
Lean in on some kind of lisp, Mr. Bennett. Is that your deal? You can just say your son, take your ass right out of here. All right, honey.
Honey.
All right.
The honey thrown in at the end is what makes it.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know how to do that. But I don't know how to do that and a lisp at the same time. I don't think those two can actually come together. So it's as close as I can get. All right. We got all the super chats cleaned off. We were just about to, I think we're about to wrap it up here. Let's remind you one more time that it is The Outsiders, brought to you by Poncho. Now, earlier, we do have one more thing. Bo, I got you. We got one more thing. There's a lot of happiness at the end of the show. Before we get to Bo's happiness, let's get to one other man's happiness. We are The Outsiders, brought to you by Poncho. Earlier in the show, I announced to you that the most popular of all the team color shirts was the burnt orange shirt. You know who's happy about that? When they told him he was fishing, this guy. Look at that. You see that? Because Colt knows why the burnt orange shirts sell better than all the other shirts at Poncho. Is it Vince that's out there fishing, modeling these shirts? No. Is it Peter Gardere walking beautiful lakeside decks selling these shirts? No, it's 12. That's who does it. That's why ponchos sell. Go to ponchooutdoors.com. Make sure you mention the Outsiders. Make sure you mention Orange Bloods Live. And just in case, make sure you mention Colt, because that's why they sell so many of those damn shirts. All right. Before we get out of here, Bo, I understand there's a matter of pride in the Edge house that you would like to discuss. Show them your ID, boys. Show them your ID. Or in this case, ladies, show them your ID. Look at that.
That is my lovely daughter, who is watching the show for the first time ever tonight because I told her I'd give her a shout out. She passed her driver's test. Watch out, Austin, Texas. My daughter, Merritt, now has a driver's license and a vehicle. Brace yourselves. Congratulations, Merritt. That's a big achievement.
My favorite part was that when you sent this image to us, Chance, being the good friend that he is, immediately did a version where information was blacked out, and he was like, "Hey, Bo, let's use this version because we don't want everybody to know where you live, man." And I looked at it, I'm like, Chance, that says 20 Old Main Street, Anytown, Texas, and the driver's license number is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8.
I didn't even look at it. I saw it, and I was at a stoplight, and I was like, "Oh, don't put that on there." So I just real quickly tried to be a good friend.
I know. What's even worse, Chance, is I saw that and I was like, "Thanks, Chance." I would admit it.
Yeah.
Think about this. This is a gigantic cardboard cutout that you take at the DPS, and it was a trying week because it took 4 trips to the DPS, not because she didn't pass the test, but once their computer system broke down, once the sticker was not in the right position on the windshield. There's all these events that transpired for this young lady who's been waiting to get this license for a while. Now she has it. But yeah, Chance said it with it blacked out. Use this. I'm like, doesn't have my
Congratulations to her. That is awesome. Yes. And as the father of, as a father myself, I had the thought too, but then I went, wait, 1 2 3 4 5 6. I was like, it was like Spaceballs. I'm like,
I didn't even think about it. I was like,
kind of TDL that an idiot puts on their luggage, isn't it? Isn't that?
I would just go and look. We've got people in our chat that are maybe not the most sane individuals on this planet, and we've got this good-looking young lady. And I was just thinking, there's just weirdos out there, man. Like, they're just weird.
You did.
Yeah. I thought you were worried that Bo was going to get some stalkers, that there'd be people out for him.
Oh, there's a long list, Jason.
S-Roan does point out that Anytown does have a good football team. Man, the Anytown Tigers, when they start running that triple option, it's hard to stop. That's a scatterboo kind of football right there, boys.
That's where Bert Auburn can go next year and kick is Anytown but here.
Fantastic.
How's that conversation going to go?
Yeah.
Hey, Bert, you've made more field goals than anybody in Texas football history. By the way, a school that had guys like Phil Dawson and Dicker the kicker and, Justin Tucker. And you've made the most, but we appreciate your work. Yeah. We're going to be moving on from you.
I would rather have Jeff Ward at 100 years old come and kick for Texas next year.
Put the brown water down.
Huh?
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, the cup already had to go refill it when Chad was doing his last stand hats, and now it's empty again. I'm on vacation from my problems.
Would you guys want a kicker in the portal?
Yes. Can we get one by Friday? Is that
no? You're not allowed to do that. I'm saying for next year.
Yeah.
I have the new punter call some of his buddies from Australia. They can't be.
Look, I mean,
we'll take it.
Here's the other thing, guys. I've said it half kidding, but since the word on the street is that Mac Brown might be moving back to Austin, would you guys be in favor of a Mac whisper to Bert Auburn? Because it was kind of his thing. When Mac would talk to a kicker, good things happen. Chance, that's true. Would you be okay with maybe it's just a Zoom call? Maybe it's just a phone call. We don't have to go face to face. Would you be in favor of a Mac Brown talks to Bert Auburn for a couple minutes?
I wouldn't be opposed to it. I wish that he would, it probably maybe next year. Like, let's keep things the same right now. Let's
Not
stay.
before Ohio. You wouldn't have him do it before Ohio State.
Nope. If you believe Nick Saban, I wouldn't talk to the kicker ever.
That was a great line.
Ever.
That was a great line somebody threw out. Who threw that out? Was it Reese Davis?
It was Saban himself.
No. But did Saban say that on a broadcast, or did someone say that he said it?
No,
he was like a wave.
He said it in an interview. Was it McAfee or?
Yeah, it was okay. It was on McAfee's show.
He's like, I saw him go talk to that kicker. I don't ever talk to the kicker. What? I was like, but no, I will be with Mac on the 11th. So 9 days from today, I'll be with Mac on that Saturday after the Cotton Bowl.
Okay.
I will ask him. Are you going to go be the whisperer? I'll see what he has to say.
I'm telling you, you asked Dusty Mangum, Justin Tucker. Was it Stockton? Would he be in Stockton too?
Stockton.
Lawrence. That cat in the snow. I don't even remember that dude's name. He was like some walk-on. Nobody knew who he was. And Max said 5 words to him, and he just hit a Vinatieri in the snow. Like, Mac knew how to do it, man. What a great deal. You're going to hit this kick in front of everybody. Go do it.
I'm going to be with Mac on the 13th. We're going to a job fair together. So,
wow.
Good luck,
I'll get y'all some pictures. That Saturday, the 11th, it's a pretty good. I don't want to put all the names out there, but there's a pretty good list. There's 15 of us former players and some pretty big name people around the university that will all be there. It's a neat deal. It's a very neat deal. I'll be able to tell you all about it on that Monday show because I'm not supposed to tell anybody about it yet. But let's just say for the last 23 years, Mark Pittman has been trying to get something put together, and with the help of a lot of great people around Austin, which I don't know, it's one of those artsy towns that there's a lot of filmmakers and stuff like that. I don't know, hint, but it might be coming to fruition, which is really cool.
There you go. Oscar with a 199. Hell yeah, would be appropriate for that. We'll be looking forward to that info when it can be officially thrown out there. All right. Anybody got anything else? We good? Everybody ready to close the door? Yeah. Good. All right. Yeah. We'll be back next week. We'll do the regular Monday, Wednesday. Since we've got Thursday, Friday semifinals, we'll pick those games next week. We'll show you those updated standings because usually when I'm in first place, it doesn't last long. We'll make sure to do that. So Monday night, 8:30, Wednesday night, 8:30 next week. Y'all enjoy the rest of you. Enjoy a weekend where you don't have to be all nervous or anything, Texas fans. You're in the semis. You'll play Ohio State, and we got 8 days.
Hey, and the Bills have locked up the 2 seed.
The Bills have locked up the 2 seed since Chance got that bowling pin. They've been rolling people over.
Yeah, and I don't want to hear any more bullshit talk about the MVP. Okay, Josh Allen, 2 Buffalo Bills made the Pro Bowl. Lamar Jackson, 9 Baltimore Ravens, and guess what? We got a 2-game better record than them. So
see that's Chance leaning in on the V part of the MVP people. That's what he's doing.
If you're giving away Pro Bowls or MVPs for teams that don't make the Pro Bowl, I mean, Cooper Rush all day, baby. Let's go.
Well, no, but my point is that Josh Allen and Deion Dawkins.
I know. Come
on, Jason. That's not nice.
Well, we have essentially a bye this weekend, so I'm good with it.
There it is.
Cowboys too.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Enjoy do the Cowboys play? And they're just taking off?
Have they played all year?
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. Fair. That's a fair comeback. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and getting those notifications. Over 1,600 of you in the Specs chat. Since we have a moment real quick, let me just thank you. How about this number? How about 12.5 million plus views? We've gone over that mark, and we're over 23,700 on the subscribers. Subscribe on the way out if you didn't on the way in. Like on the way out if you didn't on the way in. We appreciate it. It does all help. I don't even know fully how all that stuff works, but it's supposed to help us. So hopefully we keep doing it, and you'll keep supporting it. Thank you for doing that. We will talk to you Monday night at 8:30. Until then, we are the Outsiders, and we are